Hello everyone, back to today's second video. So we've already had a look at the ECM ensemble for the next 30 days. So it's looking like it could be quite warm and dry across much of Northern Europe to start off with, but it may get a little bit more changeable by the middle part of June. So have a look at that and see what you think. That's going to be a regular feature at Gas Office every Tuesday. We'll be looking at the ECMWF 30-day anomalies. This video is going to have a look at where next week to 10 days, so it takes us to around the 9th of June. And of course got very warm and stable air with us at the moment, with some tremendous thunderstorms over the bank holiday weekend, but also some really warm temperatures as well. And this broad pattern is continuing over the next few days as well. So expect more warm temperatures, yes, but also expect some pretty big thundery showers to come along at times as well. And that's the case today. So we'll start off with a radar picture from the Weather Outlook. This is the latest radar picture from the Weather Outlook. And for most parts of the country, it's a dry day. It's a fine day for the majority of the country. But get down to the south, and you can see we've got these bright colours showing up again. So some very intense downpours around London and also going along the M4 corridor over towards Bristol. Generally south of the M4 we've got these big showers. They have come a little bit further north in towards parts of southern Oxfordshire, for example. But the heaviest, most torrential rain is around the London area. If we add on the lightning detector, you'll see we have got a lot of lightning flashing away there in the southeast. Some really violent thunderstorms again, generally to the east of London, and these storms will be pushing across the far south of the country through the course of this afternoon. This is how the GFS is picking things up. So at 6 o'clock this evening, it sees those storms clearing the London area and pushing more towards these more southwestern, central southern, southwestern parts of the country with big downpours possible then. Tomorrow is a quiet day, but we will get showers pushing northwards overnight tonight, but they'll tend to ease in intensity. Tomorrow, overall, is a quieter day. But then on Thursday, it looks like things will really start picking up again in terms of showers and thunderstorms. So that is the precipitation forecast for 6 o'clock in the evening on Thursday, when England and Wales looks like we're really under the cosh with some very big storms then. That's convective potential for Thursday. We have got those bright colours in there indicating the chance of lightning, thunder and hail with those torrential thunderstorms on Thursday afternoon and Thursday evening. And then Friday actually takes the storm risk further north. So throughout all of this, Scotland and Northern Ireland generally been missing out on these heavy showers and storms. It's just been very dry. But by Friday, we might well see those storms extending north. So Scotland, Northern Ireland, Northern England, other parts of eastern England coming into the firing line for those showers and thunderstorms as well. Still quite high rates of convective potential there on Friday, so there could be more lightning, thunder and hail certainly possible. So tomorrow things will be quieter generally across the country, but it all starts ramping up again in terms of these storms on Thursday, and by Friday they're pushing up into the north of the country as well. We'll probably be updating Stormwatch. I don't think it'll be today, but I suspect Stormwatch will be appearing tomorrow. Right, so this is central England temperature. That's really lifted up as we've gone over the past few days. So we have now reached 13.1 for the CET, which is an anomaly of 2.1 degrees above average. That's provisional to yesterday, the 28th. It probably won't rise much more than that, but I think it'll stick around 13 degrees. There's usually a little bit of a downwards correction at the end of the month, so whether we hold on to 13 degrees or whether we come in just under that at say 12.9 or 12.8, so we'll have to wait and see. But in any case, it's going to be another deviation of around 2 degrees above average. The same was true for April. That one at 9.8 had an anomaly of 2.0 as well. So a pair of really warm months, and the anomaly appears to be running around 2 degrees above average at the moment. This weather's likely continuing to be opening days of June as well. So these are the 500mm high anomaly flow charts. We've got the ECMWF here on the top, and the GFS, which I'll look at in a moment, is on the bottom. 500mm, 80,000 metres area in the atmosphere. High pressure and low pressure are being moved around by the jet stream running above. Red extrapolates high pressure, blue to low pressure. So we see that for the 7 to 10 day time frame, which takes us to around the 9th of June, so through the first week of June essentially, we've got this area of above average heights, these red colours, in across the UK and to our east, the flow coming across the Atlantic and then down rather like that. So on the warm side of the jet stream, we remain close to that ridge of high pressure. We can expect more fine, dry, settled and warm weather to continue into June, albeit not totally straightforward plain sailing conditions. There will be storms, showers at times, as we've already seen, but overall staying warm and a lot of dry weather. The GFS is very similar. Again, we have that large area of above average heights over, almost centred over top of the UK actually, and the flow of the jet, it's going like that. So it looks pretty cool for northeastern Europe and western Russia in the 7 to 10 day time frame. That's where the trough of low pressure is centred, but for us, we're under this ridge, so it will remain I would have thought it would remain very dry, very warm, albeit with a chance of some thunder. We do have below average heights just there to our south, around the Bay of Biscay, so that of course will be threatening the chance of thunderstorms, particularly for southern parts of the country at times. GFS upper air temperatures and precipitation on something like this. We're looking at Ulverston today in Cumbria. So the red line here is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Ulverston, and we see that we are substantially above average at the moment. It's been very warm few days, and no real change actually going through the first week of June. That period just there, we keep those upper air temperatures looking very, very warm indeed, very substantially above that red line. Now, right at the very end, this is kind of like the 11th to, let's say, the 15th of June, right at the very end, we are seeing signs of a cool down taking place. So we are seeing the temperature dropping down to the red line, indicating cooler conditions coming along through the second week of June and up to the middle of the month. Now, that's right at the very extended range of the ensemble, so it's a really long way off. Obviously, there's a big health warning associated with that. But just the signs as we get through to the middle part of June, we might start to see temperature cooling down. And that is something that was showing up this morning when we looked at the ECM 30-day ensemble. Did indicate that after the first 2 weeks coming out really quite warm, probably we cool down back to average by the middle part of June. As far as precipitation is concerned, so just a lot of dry weather. That looks very thundery just there. That's around Friday when those storms are pushing northwards. Remember, we're looking at Cumbria, so in the far northwest of England. So the storms probably don't get through there till the end of the week. Further south, we know we are going to have more storms, particularly this afternoon, and then again on Thursday. After that, lots of dry weather through this first week of June. Some precipitation spikes coming back in the second week of June, heading into the mid part of the month, as those upper air temperatures begin to cool down. Surface temperatures for Ulverston looking like that. 20 degrees is just there, 10 degrees just there. That's 30 degrees just there. So starting warm. These underestimated temperatures a bit, so they're around 20 degrees on this chart, but it's actually a little bit warmer than that. Staying generally warm to very warm through the first week of June, and then there's that drop in the temperature back much closer to average that's taking place as we head up towards the middle part of the month. So a very warm start to June, yes, possibly a bit cooler by mid-month. But again, bear in mind that is right at the end of the ensembles and the model output. So you have to be really cautious with that. Temperature anomalies from the 29th of May to the 6th of June are coming out warmer than average for the UK and for Ireland. It remains pretty warm across most parts of Europe in the week ahead. The coolest anomalies to average are down across Spain and Portugal and through the Mediterranean, but most central, northern, northwestern parts of Europe are coming out significantly warmer than average in the week ahead. Precipitation anomalies looking like that. So it actually looks quite wet across northern parts of Spain and some of France, in fact most of France coming out wetter than average. That's all associated with thunderstorms, of course, underneath this blocking feature. We've got low pressure around Biscay, and so we expect thunderstorms there. For the UK, we find that the north and northwestern part of the country is looking much drier than average, but south and the east, closer to those thunderstorms across France, coming out with average precipitation. So obviously it's a bit wetter in the south and the east compared to the north and the west. Scandinavia also looking significantly drier than average in the week ahead. That's how the GFS is looking for Friday then. This is the first day of June, and the bizarre weather patterns that we were dealing with and trying to make sense of last week continue. To try to make sense out of this, it looks like we've got a huge sort of ridge that's extending from the Atlantic across the whole of Europe, basically away from northern Scandinavia anyway, where we've got the jet stream and some low pressure going through up there. So that's where the jet stream's gone to. We're just under this huge flabby sort of ridge, but within that there are these little troughs that are lurking around, just enhancing the risk of showers or thunderstorms. So we go into the weekend, and that's how things look by Sunday. The ridge looks like it's kind of relocating to our northwest a little bit, but still essentially we're under high pressure through most parts of Europe. We've got this area, or this trough probably, it's not an area of low pressure, but it's a trough. It's down across the northern Spain, northern Portugal and the Bay of Biscay. But this ridge out to the northwest should be holding that off. So I think after perhaps thunderstorms continuing to be early part of the weekend, we probably start trending drier later in the weekend. And then through next week, just looks broadly the same. This is a week's time, Tuesday the 5th of June, and we've still got this high pressure sitting to the north-northeast. We've still got low pressure down across Biscay. So the low pressure will be threatening storms to the south. High pressure to the northeast will be keeping particularly northern parts of the country pretty dry. Then through into the second half of next week, the slow-moving weather patterns continue. So this is Thursday, 7th of June, for example, with high pressure dominating. I think next week probably does see the thundery shower risk easing off. I think there will be plenty of dry weather coming up next week, and still very warm across many parts of the country too. That's how things look on day 10, which is Friday, 8th of June. The high pressure is in control of weather, it's dominating weather, so plenty of dry, fine, warm weather then. In the extended range of the GFS, we begin to move this high pressure out to the northwest. So as we go through the second week of June, this is Tuesday, 12th of June, for example, long way off. But the high pressure now has relocated to be sitting to the west of the country, with a trough of low pressure sinking down across Scandinavia. That starts to turn the wind into a much cooler, and I mean a much cooler northerly wind. It's not particularly unsettled though, because we've still got this high pressure blocking off the Atlantic, so it's not particularly wet. It is just a little bit showery, and the main thing is the significant drop in temperature will be taking place there. That's how we finish up 384 hours away. It's a very long way off. It's Thursday the 14th of June, but it does look substantially cooler and also a little bit more unsettled as well. Not desperately wet, still blocking off the Atlantic with this high pressure, but certainly quite a big drop in temperature taking place there through the second week of June on this particular GFS run. But again, emphasising that within the week to 10-day time frame, it's remaining warm to very warm. This is how the ECWF looks finally. So this is Friday when, again, we've got some sort of trough there. It's pushing north, but that's taking the risk of thunderstorms further north. Over the weekend and into next week, the pattern kind of simplifies a little bit, with high pressure generally sitting a bit to the north, but we still have these thundery areas of low pressure around Biscay. So even into the early part of next week, I think for the south we'll continue to have a risk of thunderstorms pushing up from Biscay and France, with the driest weather always most likely up in the north. Then through the rest of next week, so high pressure continues to be sitting to the east. These areas of low pressure are gathering, starting to look slightly ominous in the Atlantic. We've got quite a lot of low pressure queuing up in the Atlantic, seemingly waiting to start to break down this ridge and give us a return of the westerlies. But essentially, high pressure continues to be more or less in control through the middle part of next week, albeit still probably with risk of thunder in the south. That's how things look by day 10, which is Friday, 8th of June. Possibly just hinting that these areas of low pressure begin to break this ridge down. So the ridge centre looks like it's moving more towards the east of Europe. We've got quite a lot of low pressure queuing up in the Atlantic. The jet stream is trying to return a bit further southwards anyway. So maybe hinting that by day 10 we are beginning to break down the ridge, although we still have the Azores high to our south, which is trying to throw up another ridge from the southwest. So quite where that would go if we could run on a day or two more, I'm not sure, but I think it will probably turn a little bit unsettled. So certainly within the next week to 10 days, going to be a lot of warm weather continuing, and there will always be the risk with this, however, of more showers and storms coming up in the south, and that takes us through the first week of June. I think next week probably the thunderstorm risk eases down a bit, but even then southern areas will probably still be prone to heavy showers and storms. Further north there's going to be a lot of dry weather, although we will push some storms north into the northern part of the country on Friday. Essentially the first week of June is looking very warm with plenty of dry weather outside of those thunderstorms. And then possibly signs that the second week of June is turning cooler. How far we go with that, whether it would turn very cool, whether it would turn unsettled, whether we start to get some proper rain going, we would have to, and by that I mean Atlantic driven weather systems, and a return of westerlies, whether that would happen in the second week of June, it's too far away to have any confidence in, so we just have to monitor and see what's going on there. As I say, the ECM 30 day ensembles do seem to be hinting at a more unsettled and cooler phase through the middle part of June, but we'll have to wait and see till it gets into the more reliable time frame. Right, so that's today's video's done and dusted. That's brought you up to date after having the day off yesterday. Tomorrow we've got 5-day forecast coming up. I think there'll be storm watch as well coming up tomorrow. And you'll also have your daily sort of week to 10 day video update too. Right, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.